Good word. Well, prosecutors calling her a cold-blooded killer, but she is saying that it was all an accident. Jury selection set to get underway for Jordan Graham, the newlywed accused of pushing her husband of 8 days off a cliff in Glacier National Park. Anna Yum, she's a former prosecutor. Keith Sullivan, criminal defense attorney. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, so, Anna, the prosecutor, they have to prove that she intended to kill him. As the case is shaping up right now, how does it look to you being a former prosecutor?
Well, Heather, I think that the prosecutor has a lot of evidence here, a lot of circumstantial evidence. You hear that saying the cover-up is oftentimes worse than the crime. And if Jordan Graham had not engaged in this cover-up, it makes you question whether she would even be facing these serious charges. I read the prosecutor's trial brief filed with a federal court in Montana, and I think it was spot on when they said that Jordan Graham engaged in a 9-day campaign to hide her crime from family, friends, and law enforcement. Her actions, specifically after the incident, was not consistent with a grieving widow who just lost her husband. It's more consistent with a consciousness of guilt, with her knowing that she had done something wrong and that she was trying to cover it up. She lied about it to her family and friends and to the police. She didn't report it at all, and she created a fake email account by a person named Tony, sent herself an email saying that her husband was dead and that the search should be called off.
Right.
These actions, again, if I'm the prosecutor, I'm relying heavily upon them to prove intent and premeditation.
Okay, so Keith, as a criminal defense attorney, how or is it even possible to overcome that? You know, no one really knows what happened up on the cliff except the two people involved. But we do know after the fact, everything that Anna just laid out for us, she lied. She lied for 9 days about this. How do you overcome that?
She did, Heather. She lied, and that's going to be a problem, but it's not an insurmountable problem. And the prosecutor's hands here are not exactly clean either. They questioned her for 180 minutes and taped only about 25 or 30 minutes to create a nice narrative story. Listen, whether it was intentional murder or an accidental murder, the person would panic. If you went there with the intent of killing him, once you go through with those actions, you push him off the cliff, you're going to panic. This happens all the time. This is a girl who did not intend on killing her. And the reason we know that is there is not one shred of evidence to prove intentional murder. This is like that Casey Anthony case where the prosecutor threw it to the jury and said, look, she either intended on doing it, and we can't tell you how, or it was a terrible accident, and we can't really tell you how that happened either, but take her life away. Jurors have a visceral reaction to those types of prosecutions, and there is not an ounce of evidence that shows she did anything other than lie. After panicking, she had an argument, a dispute. She admits she pushed him, she shoved him, they were getting into a shoving match, and he went off the cliff.
Yeah.
It's a terrible tragedy, and unfortunately, she's a young, immature girl who didn't handle it properly until the 10th day.
And I saw you shaking your head. You know, one of the other things that the defense is talking about doing in this case is talking about the character of the victim himself and referring to his attitude and behavior as reckless. Is that wise, and how will the jury relate to that or respond to it?
I don't think that's going to be relevant at all, and I don't really think that the jury is going to hear much about that, Heather. I mean, at the end of the day, this woman is going to, if she's claiming self-defense right now, because we know her story's changed along the way, if she's going to claim self-defense, the only person who can mount that defense is her. If she testifies, which I believe that she's going to have to, she has a lot of explaining to do. It's not about the victim being on trial here, it's about her conduct. And any person in that kind of situation, even if you panicked, especially if it was an accident, would come forward and be forthcoming about it, as opposed to creating this web of lies and deceit and only coming forward when she's confronted with a picture showing that she was at Glacier National Park with her husband the night that he passed away. His character is not going to be relevant. I really think the prosecutor is going to focus on her conduct and her actions to prove circumstantially that she's guilty of first-degree murder.
Okay, have to wrap it up there. I appreciate you both joining us. We'll see what happens. Jury selection expected to take about 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
What a case that
Thanks,
might
Heather.
be.